Hi, thanks everyone for joining us today. My name is Mallory Day. I am the online content manager for Risk Factions. This is Spencer Brooks. He is our wonderful producer, and we're here to talk about the game and what it took to make it and how to become a better player.
Hello, I'm Spencer Brooks, producer on Risk Factions. We are coming to you live from beautiful Salt Lake City, Utah. Um, I'm going to go through the game today, and I'm going to quickly just give you a quick overview of sort of the game, some of the history, and how to play, and then we're going to open it up to questions. So let me get started. Um, Risk Factions on Facebook was it's a derivative of the XBLA version, which if you've never played, you ought to run out to your Xbox or PSN and download a copy immediately. We've taken Risk and we've added factions. So the original one had uh, humans, zombies, cats, robots, yetis. This one we're just starting with the three favorites, which are humans, zombies, and cats. And other ones will roll out in the future, I guarantee. But let's just start covering the basics of the game right now. So, um, like Risk, uh, it's a game about dice. It's a game about world conquest, strategy. I'm gonna go ahead and just make this full screen for you guys, um, and start a single player game and just sort of walk through some of the basics. Right now, I've whenever you want to start a game, you go down to map select. We've got one single player slot that's always got um, allows you to play a single player game. We've got 4 multiplayer slots. Here you can see I've got I'm in the middle of 3 games, and I've got 1 slot open. So let me go ahead and pick a map. So I'm a big fan of the Splat map. Um, all the maps have an easy, normal, and hard setting. I will say the hard is in fact pretty hard. I've actually gotten beaten on hard a few times by the AI. So be careful. The good thing about hard though, if you win, you'll notice each map has got map mastery. So when you fill it up, you get a special decoration for your base. Hard fills up your map mastery level a lot faster than easy. So for the intrepid players out there, I'd stick with hard. Um, so I've unlocked all 3 factions right now. So I'm going to go ahead and play cats because cats are my favorite right now. So at the beginning of every map, I want to point this out. Um, you've got to have troops to play. Sometimes you might have run out of troops if you've got a lot of multiplayer games going at the same time. Um, we do allow you to buy infinity troops on a per map basis. So if you just want to say, hey, I want to play and I'm going to burn through a jillion troops and I don't want to have to go back to my base and generate more, we've got you covered. It's a great feature. It's a great way to actually play through maps really fast and get a lot of coins in the process. Um, so here I am. I'm going to make this actually even more full screen. Um, and I want to point a few things out before I get started. The first is over here you've got your turn meter. These are all the people that are playing the game. Right now it's because it's a single player. I've got these 2 little guys here, which are AI. Couple icons I want to point out. This thing here is a number of troops I get to deploy this turn. Okay, so this is number of basically how many troops can I put on the board this turn. This icon here is the number of transfers I get per turn. Um, and then if I hover over my portrait here, you'll notice these cards. Now, just like in Risk, every time you take your turn and you take a territory, you get a card at the end of it. Um, right now, because I haven't taken over a territory and my turn hasn't ended, I've got 0 cards. But as I get these cards, I can redeem them and end up playing my special weapons, which I will get to in a second here. So let me go ahead and let's see what we got here. Let's start taking over some of these territories. I'm going to put a bunch of troops here, and then I'm going to start taking this continent here. Here I go. Got that. Now, you'll notice that, let's see, I'm not sure I'm going to be able to get all of these guys this one round, but we're going to give it a shot. All right, so you'll notice I've got 4 guys way over here. I need to take actually this territory too to complete the continent. So what I'm going to do is use my transfer, come down over here, and then you can either slide or you can just click on where you want the troops to go. And now notice I've used my one transfer. I've made all my deployments for this particular turn. I'm gonna come in, attack, and there I got the whole continent. So it's this whole purple continent right here. And you'll notice even on every map we've got this little continent indicator, and it shows who's owning what continents. And there's a little number off to the right, and that shows how many bonus deployments I get during the next round. So again, for the veteran Risk players, they know this. You want to take territories, and you want to take continents, and you want to hold them. For the new players, this is a key part of the game. It's key to the strategy. Again, find a continent, take it, hold it, and then next turn you're going to get more troops to deploy. Oops. So I go over here, and when I'm done, I go to end turn. And now, because I took over a territory, I get to draw a card. We've made a little 3-card Monte game, which is sort of fun and allows you to actually increase the number of weapon tokens that you get, which I'll explain in a minute, at the end of each round. So I get to reveal one of these. Now the key is I want to pick the card with the most weapon tokens, and it's always going to be 1 token, 1 token, or 3, 1, 1, 2, or 1, 1, 3, as far as the number of tokens on the card. So I got lucky. There it was. Boom. And now the AI is going to go. I'm going to go ahead and watch what the AI does. It does a quick replay of, see, he already took my continent. All right, that didn't end well for me. And again, hard AI, obviously, they don't pull any punches. Gonna watch the green guy. Oof, this is not looking good, folks. All right, so it's my turn again. I've got 5 troops, and you'll notice now I've got 1 card with 2 weapon tokens. Now you'll notice all of your special weapons, which you unlock, and I'll cover in a minute, they all require a certain number of weapon tokens to play. So Catnip Frenzy takes 5, Dander Weapon takes 1, Waffle Cat takes 4. The only one I can actually use this turn is the Dander Weapon because it takes 1 token, and if you notice back up here, I've got actually 2 weapon tokens on this card. So I'm going to go ahead and let's try this again and see if I can't hold the continent this time. Let's come down here. Okay. That's what I like to see. Now I'm going to use my transfer. See if I can't bring some more troops down here. And again, it's a pretty good strategy to centralize your power earlier on in the game, and really try and hold some of these continents. Again, didn't do such a great job last time, but let's give it one more shot. Oof. Oof. Not going well. Brutal. All right, well, it's not going to happen for me this turn, I don't think. I think I'm going to get pillaged pretty hard next turn. Okay, so now you saw there was a 3 weapon token card under here. see. No. Now, you can pick once for free, and then if you want to press your luck, you can spend a star. I'm a guy who loves to maximize my cards every turn because it's a lot easier for me to bring out special weapons very quickly. This AI, I'm just going to go ahead and skip the replay because I don't want to see me get completely brutalized. Didn't look so bad. All right. So now, start of my turn. I've got a couple options here. I've got 6 deploys. I've got enough weapon tokens. Notice I've got 5 of them. I can play any one of my special weapons this turn, which is great. And it's going to make a pretty big difference. Right now, you've got Waffle Cat, which basically I put it on an enemy territory and it skips their turn, or Catnip Frenzy. Increases the number of troop deployments by the number of territories I own. So I'm going to go ahead and do that because that is a pretty brutal. There's a little animation. My catnips are getting all fired up. And now look, 16 deploys. Well, this is going to change the game quite a bit for me. I can go through, and now I'm going to wreak havoc on this guy. Again, I want to fortify as much as I can. So let's go in and start cleaning this guy's clock. So every time you take a territory, you get a little animation that says, hey, you took this. Now again, notice down here, I've got the 2 other AIs. They own a continent. So the zombie guy, if you look, he gets 15 deploys next turn. That's a lot. I probably want to make sure that I break up his continent, or else he's gonna come by next round and just wipe me out. So I'm gonna give that a shot. Here it comes. Some days the rolls just don't work in your favor, but I think I can. Now you notice I took his territory away, or his continent away, and he only has 6 deploys next turn. So that's totally manageable for me to deal with, especially considering all the territories I'm about to take. And here is not looking so good there. But anyway, I think you get the idea. Just to summarize, the key is take over territories, but it's more important to take and hold complete continents. You do get a sizable deployment bonus. Again, Risk players already know this. The new players, you guys should really keep this in mind. A huge winning strategy. Maximize your cards every round. Hugely important. And that's kind of the quick big overview. I do want to cover the base real quick. So you'll notice I've been deploying troops and special weapons. They all come from your base. And right now my base is pretty big. I've leveled up things quite a bit. I've spent a lot of time with this game. I've got my cats over here. I got my humans over here. I've got my little zombie guys over here. Every time you play, you should be thinking about how you're going to expand. My recommendation is try to upgrade your barracks to some of the higher priced barracks that generate a lot of troops. So if you go into the store, you'll see troops in here. You've got cats, zombies, humans. The ones that make a lot of troops are really great. They're really expensive. You're going to have to save up for them, but they're worth it in the long run. And then I also tend to make a lot of weapon factories, like you saw me play the Catnip Frenzy, Cat Dander. All my weapons here, I'm constantly putting money toward those because those win games. Special weapons win games for people. You should be maximizing your cards. You should always have special weapons ready to play. They will make a huge advantage against the AI, against humans, and it also feels really good to lay the hurt down on a lot of these people. So um, anyway, you can kind of see like this is what you kind of want to get to. You'll notice also I've got these little flags here. Each time I complete a level of, each time I master a map, I get a little decoration here. So far, I've mastered 4 maps. It takes a little while, but it's pretty cool. And then when you master all the whole battleground, we're gonna have some really cool decorations to have after that. Um, but always, so notice I've got 1,500 coins right now. I do want to spend. I always want to make sure I've got some troops that I'm training. So I've got some zombie troops here that I just kicked off. Oh, I ran out of coins. But again, you want to. It's a mix. You want to make sure you get. You want to make sure you're getting troops in, but also special weapons. As you can see, I've been spending a lot of time getting special weapons. I've also bought some because certain games you're just laying down a lot of these things to try and win. Um, the other thing I want to point out is PvP and leaderboard. Right now, you pull up the leaderboard by pressing this little button up here. It also shows your current rank. Right now, in my friends list, I'm number 7, and it shows where you are among your friends, your name, your little rank icon, your rating, the number of wins, and the faction you most play. Again, I'm a big cat person, so got a little cat guy next to me. Uh, the other thing is you can click on any one of the leaderboard and sort of bring up their stats and see sort of what they've unlocked, um, if they've gotten any map mastery, what faction they like to play. And then we also have a global leaderboard, which shows the top 50 players in the world right now. I am number 37, which I feel like I should be higher being the producer, but that doesn't always work out that way. Um, so one thing to keep in mind with the leaderboards is you move up the leaderboards and you move down the leaderboard. So this works very much like a chess rating system. So if you play somebody really good and you win, you're going to go up a lot. If you play somebody really bad and you lose, you're going to go down a lot. If you play someone about the same rating and you win, you're going to go up some. So it's okay to play the people that are really good and have a high rating, and you're going to depending on if you win, you're going to move up quite a bit. So let's go over to multiplayer right now, and I just want to walk you through the multiplayer process. Whenever you want to start one, it's down here in the map select section. Click on Start New Multiplayer Map, and you've got 2 options. You can create a game, and this is basically you can invite specific friends you want to play, or you can just join a random game. This basically finds all the people who want to play a random game very quickly and adds them to a queue, and then it starts the game once you've reached 4 free players. The games fill up really fast. It's usually like in a minute or 2. This is a great way to play and get a game done really fast. I'm going to go ahead and start a game, and I'm going to start a 4-player game. And I like that. Let's play the Splat map. I haven't played that in a while. Let's play Grip. That's kind of a crazy map. So I'm going to go with zombies this time, just because I'm feeling lucky. Now I get to pick who I want to play. Well, Mallory's sitting right next to me, so I'm gonna pick Mallory. I'm gonna send her a request. And actually I'll invite a few more people. Who else do we have? Invite Jody and Joe Bory. Okay, so those are sent. 3 invites sent. It says it right there. Here I am with the zombies. All right, and I am going to go ahead and wait for those guys to join. Now, when they do join, I get a little message that says, "Hey, it started, I can actually also go back into the lobby and see who's signed up. And Mallory's sitting right next to me. She's going to just go ahead and start the game. So there it says Mallory join the game, and I don't know whether it's Mallory's turn or not at first, but we're going to find out. Oh, it says Mallory's turn, view the game. So you click over here, and here's the game in progress. Mallory just started the game. If you don't want to wait for a lot of people to join, you can just say have AI fill the empty slots right now. Here, Mittens already went. I'm going to skip Mittens replay. Mallory went. It's her turn, so she's doing her thing. Now, you've got this little timer down here. It's important to know that everybody has got 24 hours to take their turn. Basically, if you go the whole 24 hours, do not take your turn, a little icon here appears that says boot. And I'll show you an example of that. I've got a game here that I'm playing. I'm playing my friend Nick, and he is just taking a long time. And it says, he's taking more than a day. I can boot him, or I can remind him to take another turn. So I'll be a nice guy. I don't want to boot him out of this game because I'm probably going to win anyway. So let me just see. And I think I've actually already reminded him today. I'm not sure I'm going to be able to remind him again. Yep. And if you boot the player, the AI takes over for that player for the rest of the game, and it's a way to sort of speed things up. You do take a leaderboard penalty if you are a guy that gets booted a lot. The key is we don't want people to start games and then not finish them. So it's a good incentive to play because your rating will go down if you sandbag on games. So I'm going to click over to map select, and you'll notice one of my multiplayer slots is now yellow, indicating that it's my turn. So I go in and I go to play map. And there it is. I'm going to watch Mallory's replay. She's red, and she is okay. But now it's my turn. I've got 5 deploys. I'm going to go ahead and try and take this little continent down here because I think it's pretty protected. And attack this guy. So took my territory. Notice I'll get my card for that round. I'm not sure. Let's see if I'm going to transfer my troops over. Actually, I'm going to transfer troops up, back up here, and then I'm going to try and take out this guy. I'm not sure I'm going to be able to do it, but let's give it a shot. Ugh. AI's putting up a fight. I'm just going to push my luck here. Not the wisest thing to do, but yeah, that didn't work. So that's all I really want to do this turn. Again, I get to pick my cards. I'm playing against Mallory. I obviously have an ego. I don't want to lose. I want to make sure I can deploy some of my cool zombie weapons as soon as possible. The zombies have really great weapons. I can't help myself. I just want to touch on them really quickly. You'll notice down here you've got, I'll wait for the AI to go. Skip replay. Flesh Mob is one of the best weapons in the game. It adds 7 troops to any territory you choose. Really helps it later in the game. If you have enough cards, you can actually use a couple Flesh Mobs in a single turn, and you can do this awesome sort of blitzkrieg campaign. Metron is probably my favorite weapon in the game. It puts down this giant zombie robot thing, and it gets 5 bonus dice to attack and defense. It only lasts 1 round, but it just kicks ass. Great weapon if you just want to tear through somebody's defenses. And then finally, probably the most powerful weapon in the game. Um, we nicknamed this around the office Book of the Dead, but it's the zombie book. And you place this on a territory that you own. Every zombie that you gets destroyed, the next round gets regenerated on the territory where you place the book. Um, huge weapon. The problem is if that territory where the book's in gets taken over, the book um, it it dies. So you really have to protect it. And once you've seen that come out once, chances are everybody better attack it, or the person who plays it will come in and win. So let me open this up to. Are there any questions? Yeah. So how do you? All right. So question coming in from Kevin. How do you know whether you have set all the die to an impartial settings for both? How do I know whether? Okay. So basically, um, the question is, do the dice cheat? We get this a lot. This is one of this is a great question. The dice don't cheat, and I'm going to prove it to you. And we did this to prove it to everyone here. So if you go on your leaderboard and you click on stats, we have your rolling statistics right here. And this is how all the distribution of die rolls that you guys would have. And you'll notice on mine, it's almost exactly even between 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So no, Kevin, the dice don't cheat. Yes, like anything, it's volatile and you can have terrible rolls. You can also have winning rolls. People tend to forget the huge winning streaks they have and always remember the huge losing streaks. I've been a victim of this myself, but I can assure you the dice are impartial. We don't juice the dice. We don't stack the dice. The AI doesn't roll better dice. They roll the same dice. It's the same algorithm. It's the same random number generator that the AI roll. So it's completely fair. And I don't know how to prove that other than having people, play the game. And so whose idea was a cat faction? How do you unlock it in the game? Great question. A cat faction was one of ours from the original XBLA version. It was you unlock it very simply, and you unlock all the factions sort of the same way. You've got to expand your base to one of these empty spaces over here that have got the HQ a foundation in it. So right now, I will actually show you. I need some more coins here. Let me give myself some coins here. Okay, so I'm gonna show you quickly how to unlock new factions. You expand your base. I'm gonna purchase that expansion, and once you purchase it, you've got to get some government contractors. I've got quite a few already to complete the expansion. Now you've got this little foundation thing here. If you click on it, you'll notice, all right, which faction do you want to expand? All mine are grayed out right now because I've unlocked them all. But once they're on yours, you're going to see human will already be there, but zombie and cat may or may not be unlocked. Click on that and then click complete, and you will have unlocked that faction. Again, I love cats. I'm a big supporter of cats. I would unlock them first, but zombies are really awesome too. Book of the Dead, Metron. I don't know how you choose, but there it is. Will the human factions get any defensive weapons? We will be expanding the number of weapons for all the factions. You're going to notice. Let me go to the human tech tree right now. So all of these, here are all the tech trees. We notice there's a lot of coming soons for each one of the factions. Yes, we're going to be adding a lot of techs, and we're going to be adding a lot of weapons, whether they're defensive or whether they're offensive, I'm not sure. We've got some cool ones for the humans coming up. I can tell you they're not going to be super defensive. They're going to be mostly offensive. But again, we want the humans to play pretty offensively. Humans are great early on in the game to lay the hurt on people. If you're playing human, I would definitely try and knock out the cats or the zombies pretty quick. I noticed when I killed 2 AI players in one turn, I got a high score at the end of the game. What are some of the factors that contribute to your score? Um, Great question. At the end of the game, you win the game, you get a score, and you get prizomatic guesses based on your score. The score is a function of how many troops you kill, how many of the AI you kill, and whether you win or not. Whether you win or not obviously makes more. It's a big. It gives you a lot of extra points. So you want to try and do those 3 things in multiplayer games. Again, try and take out people, and that will juice your score and give you more prizomatic guesses at the end. So support for classic version will be great. No weapons and ways of cashing in the cards is a poor game. I like the online version too. Just might be nice to play either way. So that was from Jeremy. Yes, we have gotten some requests to play the very, very sort of classic way, no weapons, and follow the classic rules a little bit more. Yeah, we are looking at new game modes. One of the game modes that we are also looking at is the objective-based gameplay that you'll see in the Xbox Live and PSN versions. So to the answer to the question, yes, there will be more game modes. Yes, we'll probably add a truly classic mode for the purist out there. It's going to be a little bit of time because there's some other great features that we've got coming down the road. Is there going to be from comment from Sloan? Is there going to be iPhone or iPad support for this game, much like Words with Friends? Also, will there be a way to play the game passively like Words with Friends? So we haven't announced any iPad and iPhone support yet, but I share your feeling. I do want to be able to play wherever. I want to be able to manage my base while I've got my iPad or iPhone out. So yes, that is something that the development team really wants to do, and we will. We're looking into seeing if we can't make that happen. From Doodle, love the game. Any idea when the other factions like robots will be released? Okay, so we haven't announced the timing. I will say there will be robots. And you guys, if you poke around enough places, I think you might be able to tell what the 4th faction will be. We've already got the next 2 done, and they're ready to go. We just haven't released them. We want to wait a little bit longer before we release the next one, but they are coming. They're coming soon. And if you've got ideas for factions, please go onto the forums and recommend them. We've gotten a bunch of recommendations before. We certainly have got ideas, but we'd love to hear from the community. We'd love not only ideas for faction, but like what are some cool weapons? Send in ideas because if they're good, we'll just go ahead and put them in the game. Comment from Rick. For a new player like myself, which is the best faction to choose? I would say, again, I don't really think you can go wrong with either cats or zombies. The one thing to keep in mind is the cooler special weapons tend to come a little bit. They're sort of the second or third tech you unlock in the tech tree. Realistically, Metron is a really great weapon early on, super big. And then if you go zombies, obviously I would try and get Metron first and then Zombie Bait Factory, which gives you Flesh Mob. I would try and do that first if you pick zombies. Cats, um, I would try to go. Um, I would try and you're obviously going to unlock Cat Dander. Catnip Farm is probably the good second weapon to get because that gives you Catnip Frenzy, which is a huge weapon. It plays really well in the later games. It's hard to bring out earlier on. If I had to choose for the noob, I would I would probably say zombies are probably a little faster to level up. But I think cats overall and a one versus one, cats are just so brutal. It really depends. If you're playing the AI, I probably would go with zombies. That's not really a committal answer. They're both great and they both have different play styles. Um, Next questions. What do we got from? Will the multiplayer game have more customizable options? For example, change the 24 option to play your turn. Yes, we are looking at new options. We're definitely going to have an option to shorten that boot time. Right now it's 24. We're definitely gonna to give you the option of shortening that up. We would love actually to hear ideas on how like what times make sense for you. Keep in mind one thing to keep in mind, and here let me just turn on the little camera. Um, Keep in mind that uh, when people go to sleep, we one of the reasons is 24 hours is good because it allows people to sleep, and if it's 2 hours, people can like, hey, I got to go to bed, and then in the morning somebody's booted them. Usually friends don't do that. When you get in random games, people can be kind of jerks. So we do want to offer that as an option. Um, there is a point where I think people can sort of misuse the boot feature. But anyway, send us suggestions on what time limits you feel are good. Another question: what kind of map upgrades can we expect, if any? Um, we are going to be releasing new maps. I think next week even we've got our first new map. I think it's yes. I think we have a new map. It's going to be one of those sort of human-esque type maps. Um, it's uh, I think right now we're going to keep adding maps, but where we're going to go is we're probably going to get to maps that have dynamic terrain like the Xbox Live and PSN version. So if you guys have ever played that, for the people who haven't, we've got um, uh, some really interesting features. There was one map where if you held both sides of this dam at the start of your turn, you could actually flood a whole continent. You could open up the dam and flood a whole continent, and that was actually really cool because it would wipe out a whole continent. So we do like um, we we are going to be playing with the maps. We do like the idea of dynamic terrain. We think it was really a big deal in um, the Xbox and the PSN versions. We want to bring it to this version. And again, if you guys have ideas on sort of dynamic terrain that you'd like to see, let us know. But I think it probably makes sense to bring some of those maps to the Facebook version. Um, what factors contribute to the amount of die you have? This is a great question. Okay, so this is sort of a basic risk question. Risk, you roll 3 attack dice versus 2 defense die. Now you'll notice. Now let me go back to my single player map and answer this a little bit and with a little bit more detail. So if you'll notice, I've got 5 I've got 5 troops in this map. Now notice when I attack, the bad guy has got 2 defense die. And as I roll and lose troops in this case, now I'm down to 3 troops. Now you'll notice the number of die I have went down to 2. So, and this is, we try and shield you from some of this math and some of the stuff from the board game, but the you roll the number of attack die equal, you can never roll more than 3, assume unless you have a special weapon, but you can only roll 3 as long as you've got 1 extra troop in your territory to um, to leave behind. Now, I didn't really explain that right. So, one a simpler way to think about it is if you've got 4 guys on a territory, you can roll 3 dice. Once you get down to 3 troops on a territory, you only roll 2 dice, and when you have 2 troops on a territory, you only roll 1. And depending on the number of dice you roll, that's how many automatically get pushed into the territory you're attacking. I'm not sure if I just confused things even more. That might have just not answered your question. Now you're like, what are you talking about? Um, but let me roll one more time and try and explain this. All right, so right now I've got 7 against 4. I attacked. Now again, it's 7 against 2. Now I'm going to attack, and assuming all right, well, that didn't work. But notice I always transfer whatever the last roll was I made, I transfer that many to the next territory. And I can transfer all of them, but I've got to do a minimum of 3 since I rolled 3 dice. So in general, you're going to want to make sure that you have at least 4 troops on a territory before you attack, because that way that guarantees you rolling 3 attack dice. And lunchtime. You always want to get that advantage. Oops, sorry guys. You always want to have that advantage. You always want to be rolling 3 against 2 as much as you humanly can. And to do that, you've got to have at least 4 troops on a territory. When you get down to 3 troops and 2 troops, your chances of winning go down tremendously, because don't forget, defenders always win ties. So defenders always have sort of this advantage unless you're rolling 3 versus 2. Anyway, that was a very complicated answer for a relatively simple question. I hope I've sort of answered it. And if you want to read more about it, we've got a help section too that sort of explains in a little bit more detail about why the dies are rolling. There are classic Risk players, I think they get it, like 3 versus 2. I get it. Do you have advantages, disadvantage against other, or do factions have disadvantages, disadvantage against other factions? Yes, sort of. You can't say, oh, cats will always beat zombies, zombies will always beat cats, humans will always beat zombies. It doesn't really work like that. We balance the game so no one faction has a major advantage over another. They just play differently, and they're different strategies with each one. Zombies, typically, they're all about creating just more zombies. So Flesh Mob, Book of the Dead, they just juice the number of zombies you have on the map. Humans, they have a lot of offensive weapons. They do a lot of direct damage. They take out, Donkey Cannon just takes out a certain number of troops on a map. The Steam Tank gives you +2 attack die, which is huge. The Cavalry adds a +1 to the highest attack for all of your attacks within a continent. The other thing about Cavalry people always forget is Cavalry stack. So when you play, you can put multiple cavalries in different territories within a continent, and for each one you add, you're going to get another +1 to your highest roll on attack. So if you've got 5 continent, in this example, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 territories. If I put a cavalry on each one of those, I would have a +5 on my highest attack die when I attack. You don't have to be a rocket science to figure that's a pretty big statistical advantage. You're going to do some major damage with that. But no, I don't think any one faction is really better than the other. I think they're all, again, they're just different. Um, and really what makes them different is the special weapons. So again, pro tip, unlock the special weapons as fast as you can. Build multiple factories of each special weapon. Just one factory isn't going to do it. Build like 2 or 3 at least, because you will be using these things up quickly. Will a weapon be added so attacker wins ties? That is a great little weapon, I think. And yes, we've looked at all the sort of statistical things we can do with the dice. Yeah, I think that's a really good really good suggestion. And you may see that in the game in the future. Um, can steam tanks stack? Well, yes, actually. Steam tanks can stack if they are right next to each other. If you put 2 steam tanks right next to each other and then attack a territory that they both touch, you're going to get +2 attack die. So steam tanks can be super, super powerful. And if you put them in the right spot, if you put 2 of them, you're going to go shithouse on people, I think. I've seen it done. What I do is steam tank and then maybe a couple cavalries in the continent, and then it's just you're getting +2 die, and then cavalries are giving you +1 to the high. I mean, it's brutal. It's brutal. Again, people start out with humans like, oh god, I gotta upgrade. It's true. Zombies and cats are great. I love them, but the humans, they're pretty awesome too. Don't neglect the humans. They've got some pretty sweet weapons coming out. Um, will multiplayer feature the ability to play co-op or on teams? So we have not announced any plans for this, but I certainly like playing teams. We do, and I certainly know there's sort of unofficial teams because I form alliances in the chat window all the time and say, hey, let's attack the red guy or blah, blah, blah. So we do want to look at that more. I do love the idea of sort of a team win condition. I think it's really cool. We also like the idea of, team wins and leagues and tournaments and all that stuff. So that stuff is definitely it's on the drawing board. We haven't announced any plans, but it's something we definitely want to explore. Are there any zombie specials that can stack? No, the zombies don't have any stackers yet. And I said yet. We're looking at some cool stuff for the zombies. We it I can't say I can't confirm nor deny that might happen, but it's an interesting idea. Um, is it possible to move your weapons after they have been placed? No, there isn't that ability yet. And again, you hear me say yet a lot. As I've said, we've completed the next 2 factions and the 3 weapons for each one of those, and those are all designed. We've got some pretty cool ones. I mean, I can't really. Man, robots are going to be so cool. I can't tell you how cool they are, and they're just going to mess with people. I mean, robots when they come out, they are just going to mess. I mean, it's like it's like kind of like the asshole faction. It's like, oh god, and it's just they're going to be incredibly disruptive and so awesome. Um, Anyway, that's sort of a spoiler, but they're so cool. Um, and they might, in fact, move things around. I'm not going to go into it, but yes, all options are on the table. Um, why did you choose to make Risk Factions on Facebook less like the one on Xbox Live Arcade? That's a really good question. And it's kind of a tricky one. One of the things is in the Xbox Live version, there was no sense of persistence and sort of leveling up. It was just the game, and you kind of pick the factions. And honestly, the factions were just sort of a window dressing. They were skin. They didn't really, they didn't really make a meaningful impact on gameplay. This version, and that sort of bugged me. I really wanted the factions to sort of feel different, and that was one of the major things we wanted to do this time was make those factions feel different. So we put a lot of time and effort into the special weapon system, leveling things up, growing your base, giving this sense of like progression. But we couldn't, in the time we have, we can't do everything. We're limited by time, and we have to make some choices. I will say that all of the things that you loved about Risk Factions initially, which was, which well for me, which was dynamic terrain and the objective-based rules, they are coming. We've got plans to do those, but we definitely wanted to make the biggest priority is to make the factions feel different, and that's where we put a lot of our effort. I hope that answers your question. And for all the people that really like the XBLA and PSN versions, we are working on all those features that you love there. We're working on bringing those to the Facebook game. How long have you had the idea for the game? Man, I have been working on Risk for 3 years. God, it's been forever. So, the first Risk Factions we really we want to bring Risk to the game. I said, I don't like how I didn't just like the red guy or the blue guy or the green guy. We wanted to add a little variety. We really like the objective-based gameplay to make the games go faster and not take as long and keep everyone in the game and have more replayability. And this was like 2 or 3 years ago. We had this, and a former colleague of mine and I sat down, and he and I sort of thought through a lot of these ideas. And this happened in 2000. God, I want to say Factions came out in 2008, 2009. So it's been a long time. It's been many years, and it's just been an iterative process. So I hope that answered the question. The answer is a long time. The tabletop risks, there are capitals. Will this be integration of Risk Factions? Capitals. Yes. So we really like capitals. I love that idea. We have actually sort of started designing a whole game mode around capitals that we think is really slick. We haven't announced when we may launch that, but yes, to answer your question, love capitals. I personally want to put them in the game, and I think we want to take a little bit of time and make sure that we do it right and we get that whole sort of game mode right. I think if we're added in today, it would be sort of meaningless, but I think when we get some of these other game modes in, I think you will definitely see capitals. Well, I think that is the time. I am going to leave you guys with the trailer. If you guys haven't seen it, it's pretty cool. This is our launch trailer. It's up on our site. It's on YouTube. It's a lot of places. So I'm going to leave you with this today. And guys, thank you for coming in and spending your time and having some great questions. And please send us questions, send us comments, send us things you don't like, and give suggestions of like, hey, here's what I think you ought to do. We listen to that stuff. Mallory is here. She makes sure all that stuff gets filtered to the development team, and we act on most of it. So without further ado, with a little further ado, I will go back to this, and I will talk to you guys later.
News on the march. It's war. Battles rage across the land, and humans, cats, and zombies devise new, terrifying weapons. At the human base, William Fatty McGutterpants oversees the creation of new mighty steam tanks. Meanwhile, at the zombie base, zombie engineers are putting the finishing touches on the mighty Meatron. Whoa there, fella. And the cats have their own weapons. Now scientists work on new strains of catnip. My, those are some happy kitties. Steam Tank, Meatron, and Catnip Frenzy. just 3 of the new unlockable weapons in Risk Factions. New on Facebook.